All right, music money makers, check this out. We're building this record label together. Some of you bought the book the other day, last week, and we're really getting this thing going. It's the day after Christmas. You're like, you know what? Let's just start this year off right, or the year that's forthcoming off right. Okay, so you got to balance building this label. You got your family life. You got all this stuff going on that you have to balance. How are you going to have enough time to do that? Of course, you have to set aside enough time to do that. You have to schedule this time out so that you can complete your goals. And while this can be frustrating, I do want you to realize that you're not really in a race with anybody, not even yourself. Remember, we just have checkpoints that we have to meet. And here's the thing, I completely get it, bro. Like, I know where you are because I was there when I started this show. This show is a culmination of my experience in this industry. And I actually did a show about this last 2020 or 2021. Anyway, I talked about how to quit your job and do music full time. And this is a little bit of that, but I'm going in a little bit deeper. So you can check that out on the channel if you want to. I'll put a link in one of them sections up there. Now, in the beginning, I gave it a set amount of time of about 2 hours, but this could vary depending on where you are in your career and what you want to do in your family life and all the stuff you got going on. But because you got all this stuff going on, we're going to break it down on today's episode of the Music Money Makeover Show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Music Money Makeover Show. My name is Casey Graham, and let's hop right in. So the first things first, you got to be mindful of your time personally. You got to be mindful of the family if you have one, and you got to be mindful of the job if you have that too, okay? Just to work on this record label. You get what I'm saying? So because we got to be mindful of this time, we got to work on a couple things here. We got to bring our goal into focus. Once we figure out what our goal is, then we can prioritize everything that it's going to take to meet our goal. Remember the strategy we talked about in the first video of this series? That strategy is our goal. It will lead us to our goal, but we got to break down the steps that we need to attack based on the amount of time we set aside every day, not one time a week. I mean, every day, this is how we're going to get there, bit by bit, because if you do it every day, you'll get there a lot faster than someone who is just, you know, doing 5 hours here, 2 hours there, 3 hours over there. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Now, once we prioritized our goal, depending on if we're making music, if we're getting the mixes done, if we're building our 60-day record label, if we're doing all this stuff, right? It's important to figure out which piece should go first because we're limited on these time resources. Realistically, during the week, you're only going to have 10 to 15 hours to allot. This is why I said in the beginning, our magic number is really going to look like 2 hours per day, maybe 2.5 hours on a Saturday and a Sunday. But that's pretty much all you're going to get between all of the other stuff you have to do, because I don't want to wear you out, man. Some of you all can push a little bit harder because you don't have as much going on. But 2 hours set aside for this, in addition to the rest of the life, is really our magic number, and this is what you're going to need, and this is how you're going to move forth. And I want you to get used to working every day, because in this industry, you're going to be working every day anyway. Now let's talk about the family and the social life, or your family and your friends. You don't want to alienate your family and your friends and then go into hermit mode and just like, oh, we just create, and you haven't talked to anybody in weeks, because when you're getting started, the family and the friends are your initial support system. Whether you have many or no friends, or whether you just have family, you have someone around you that will be your support system, whether it's the relationships you build or whatever. You have to allot time for them in the mix of the week. It's going to be important that you rely on them, on their helping hands, to relieve some of that pressure during the week while you're trying to maximize these 2 hours that you have. Because if you don't forget about them, when the time comes that you have to do a tour and you really have to put in 4 to 5 hours and those late night hours, they're going to be more keen to help you. You get what I'm saying? When you have to take more time so that you can see them later down the line, they're going to understand and they're going to say, you know what? I see that you worked hard and I appreciate you spending time with us while you were actually doing what you needed to do. Then when the time crunch really comes and you have to take more time, they're going to say, hey, man, it's cool. I got you. Anything you need, we got your back. You know what I mean? In most cases, I know some people are kind of introverted. They don't really have many friends, but I'm just saying. The next thing with this life is you don't want to let anyone silence your dreams. Now, as a music producer or artist, you may encounter people who will say things like, oh, you ain't going to make it, man. You know, oh, that, man, come on, man. Nobody, And I've had people say this to me, that nobody can really make it in music because there is a mystery between starting where you are in your bedroom studio and actually making it to where you're making money and this is what you do. There's a mystery between that, and people are trying to figure out, I can't see that mystery, man. I see people making money, but I don't know how they get there. And because I don't know how they get there, well, that means that you can't make it because you're on this side and you got to get to this side, and nobody knows, because normal people go to college and get a good job and do whatever they got to do. Now, hopefully, you know, the new generations, the younger children coming in, they like, screw college, man. Let's go get these skills and make these millions. But the older generation, they say that stuff, right? And it's totally possible to do this music. So I don't want you to listen to that. Consider this. Nobody knows what you're truly capable of because they can't see your vision, right? And if they can't see your vision, then the thing is, they weren't a part of the vision in the first place. That's why they can't see your vision. Because when you visualize where you were going to be, they weren't in the picture. Therefore, they cannot see where you're trying to go. You get what I'm saying? Don't let anybody's negativity stop these goals from coming true, because the world needs what you have to say. And be sure that the things that are holding you back are worth letting go. Don't let them stop you from pursuing your passions, because sometimes you have some weight in that backpack that needs to come with you. But if you got too much weight in that backpack and it's unnecessary, you got to take it out, bro. Because there's always going to be weight on your back, and that's going to be weighing you down. But some of it has to come with you, and some of it has to come out. So you need to figure out what's in that backpack as well. Now, I'm going to read a quote that goes with this. Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right? You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. And of course, you all know that comes from the pursuit of happiness right there. Now, here's our next step with balancing this family life, this music life, this business life, all this stuff, is that business relationships are important. And being a musician is not just about the music, but it's about the business. So now that we have the 1 to 2 hours a day that we're allotting to build this record label, some of you all are using those hours to record and finalize your projects and do whatever and whatnot. We also have to build relationships in this business. So here's what I recommend. 1 day out of the month while you're getting in the very, very beginning, if you can allot more time, great. But some of you all have too much going on where you can't. So at least 1 day out of the month, try to go to an industry mixer function in your area to get to know people. And if you don't have a mixer going on, go out to a club, ask for the club owner, ask for the DJ, and start, meeting people. Introduce yourself, tell them what you do. Tell them, hey, man, I just want to put myself on your radar. What's the best way to contact you? Or what's the best way to get in contact you when I'm ready to, do some business with you, right? Introduce yourself to the music community, and you're going to have to take 1 day out of the week. On the flip side, I want you to go into sites like LinkedIn and search people on social media in your area so that you can build connections with local record labels that are already popping so you can get some experience. Other artists out there that are doing their thing, maybe some publishers and things like that, depending on where you are, sync agents and all this type of stuff, right? You got to allot some of that time to do this networking because, like I said last week, these relationships right here, some of these relationships are worth more than the money. And you're going to need the relationships to get to the money. You get what I mean? So, don't let the time just strictly go to building and being creative. You must establish relationships as well. Now, let me help you out here. What's going to help with some of these tasks is going to be automation software. All right. Now, some of this stuff, you're going to have to get the software and you're going to have to start to input the information. But on top of that, once you start running it, it's going to really save you some time here. Let me break it down. You can use things like texting software like Superphone or Community to maintain the relationships, the professional relationships that you're getting. Me personally, I don't really like it for fan engagement because I couldn't see how it would really work past 2 text messages a month, because that's when some of y'all started to get annoyed with my text messages. And some of y'all are still trying to text and call that number. That number doesn't work, by the way. So, yeah. All right. So don't use that. But it's great for maintaining relationships and putting things on autopilot so you can always check in with the relationships that you acquire. You get what I'm saying? So it's a great thing to have. On top of that, social media scheduling software will be great for you as you start to build your content. In addition to that, art tools like Canva for all the graphics needs that you need. Say if you can't afford Photoshop and you don't have a clue of graphics experience, but you know how to move some text and pictures around, Canva is good for you because it'll get you off the ground and get you going pretty fast. All right, and then next you have some email softwares to automate some things like Boomerang, Gmass, Streak for tracking the emails that you send off to different people and stuff like that, okay? So, and Google Meet if you need to have a virtual meeting with people that you're meeting online through LinkedIn and sites like that. Now, our last thing here is you got to be true to yourself, and you don't want to compare yourself to others because you can't, because you're unique. Remember, like, you are your own thing. You just have to make some noise. You know, I mean, you got to give your soul, you know what I'm saying? You have to give it your all. You have to really bring it forth, make some noise with it, and then people will recognize you. But you can't compare yourselves to others because guess what? The consumer doesn't want the same thing over and over and over again. They want something just a little bit to the right or just a little bit to the left, because if you're the exact same thing, you won't stand out. You have to be just to the left or just to the right. Some of you all go way to the right and way to the left, and you're way out of the ballpark. Just to the left, just to the right. That's how you climb the beanstalk, if you will. All right. Your only limitation is not the other people, but your only limitation is yourself. You are the one that's standing in the way of your success and where you want to be with your artistic endeavors. Now, you got work to do. Start to list out your priorities. Schedule them based on your 2-hour-a-day schedule. Grab the 60-day record label executive edition and start to build the structure of that label. Start to network with industry professionals once a month in the physical space, and at least do it weekly or, you know, every 2 or 3 days if you can online. Grab some automation software to speed up the process. Make it known to everybody that this is happening and you're coming in hot. And if you need more assistance with this, you can always book a call on musicmoneymakeover.com. Because at the end of the day, if you keep knocking this thing down in 2-hour increments every day, no matter how you feel, unless you just can't get up, every day, you will have deposited 180 hours into your new music career. And that's way more consistent than someone that's given a sporadic 5 hours here, 3 hours here, 4 hours there, 1 hour here, and just waiting for the feeling of inspiration to come. Because if you're going to wait on inspiration, you're going to be waiting for a while. And we can't wait on that if we want to build something. Because when you look at builders of all these apartments all across America, they're not taking days off, probably except for Sunday, but they're still building. And even though they may have a team, the building continues, okay? Now, when you have those sporadic building moments, this will cause you to fizzle out. And then that causes you to postpone things. And then that causes you to say, oh, yeah, man, 3 months ago I was working on that. I gotta start that back up again. And we don't want to do that. At the end of the day, the 2 hours is the magic number that we're going to put in play to build this record label and still have the family life, the work, you know what I'm saying, the friends and all that stuff going on, because this will allow us to get to the place of the next artist to look out for. We're that unsigned hype now, you know, 90 days in, 6 months in, you know what I'm saying, 12 months in, 18 months in, 2 hours a day, boom, 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 boom. You're way ahead of the game. All right, music money makers, if you make music, you should always make money. Download the 60-day record label, visit musicmoneymakeover.com, book a call, and I'll see you next time. Peace.